Today's a pretty boring day, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some gluten-free crackers, and I'm going to show you how I make them step by step. There's three things, a three-step process. Okay, first of all, the first thing that you need is you need certain utensils, right? And I know I'm having a bad hair day. It's okay, but anyway, so what you're going to need, you're going to need parchment paper, which I get from the dollar store. It's cheaper. It's cheapest at the dollar store, and so I buy tons of it. Yeah, so parchment paper, good old rolling pin like the good old days, right? An egg lifter, a pizza cutter, makes everything a lot easier and a lot simpler than a knife. You're going to need two measuring spoons. You're going to need one that's 1 teaspoon and one that's a 1/4 teaspoon. A bowl to mix it all in. You need a measuring cup and a cookie sheet. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what ingredients you need. The ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need gluten-free flour, which I buy tons of, and I store it in these plastic containers. So gluten-free flour, it's called Atta, right? And it's very, very good. It almost has like a pepper in it. It almost looks like it has a pepper in it. So gluten-free flour. Is the first thing. Second thing, you're going to need oregano leaves, okay? Oregano leaves are good for everything. Flavor, they are amazing in my healing journey. So I use them a lot in chelation. I use them in all my crackers that I make. I use them in my soups, in my spaghetti, in my chili, okay? Oh, oregano leaves are the best, okay? The only type of oil I use is extra virgin olive oil. So you're going to need extra virgin olive oil. Pink Himalayan salt. It has the highest nutrients and it is the least invasive on your system. So pink Himalayan salt. And my favorite is flaxseed. And I buy the whole flaxseed and then I ground it in my blender. So I always put flaxseed in my crackers. The most important thing to put in is not what you think it is. It's not the same as making cookies. Crackers is different. You want them harder. So you want to get some baking powder. Yeah, so baking powder. And that is basically all you need for the crackers that I'm making. I might add in here that gluten-free flour doesn't have gluten. It doesn't have anything that acts as a glue. And I need to tell you this, I can't lie on my channel. So I do use ordinary white flour on top of the gluten-free flour. However, anything under, I think it's 5% or 3%, you don't really have to count because it doesn't really affect you, okay? So anything under a certain percentage, even at the stores, if you look at the labels on the store, anything below a certain amount, they don't even include it in the ingredient. So be aware of that. But I do use a tiny bit of white flour, non-bleached, in order to give it that kind of consistency where it sticks together and it's easy to roll out. So those are the ingredients that you need. And one other thing you need is good old water. Water's good for everything, but you do need water to bind it together. Okay, so gluten-free flour, olive oil, and I only use olive oil, oregano, Himalayan salt, flaxseed, and baking powder. Baking powder. Don't mix that up because I did one time and it turned out horrible. So baking powder. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how much of each ingredient. So now the ingredients and how much of each ingredient I use. Okay, first we're going to start with the flour. So 1 cup of non-gluten flour, okay? And 3/4 cup of unbleached white flour, or you can use a 1/2 cup depending on what your individual tastes are. I personally don't have a gluten intolerance. I just choose not to eat a lot of gluten. So mine's going to be 3/4 of a cup of white unbleached flour. okay? And then we're just gonna mix that up. So I'm adding all the dry ingredients. One, okay, teaspoon of baking powder. 3/4 teaspoon of Himalayan salt. And I get a little liberal with the oregano. I love my oregano, and so I'm going to put in this is only about a tablespoon, but I'm going to add more as I go. So, about a tablespoon of oregano. Like at this point, you can add whatever extras you want, what different kind of spices, if you want garlic, crackers, those type of things. Just to add those ingredients, the dry ingredients now. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the flaxseed. And I don't really measure the flaxseed, so I'm going to say maybe, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of flaxseed. Actually, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. So 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. And that's high in omegas, so be aware of that. Okay, so then you just mix it up. And I make a little well in the middle. And I'm going to add to that 1/3 cup of virgin olive oil. Okay, right in the middle. Now, okay, and to that, I don't know if you can even see that. Okay, and to that I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of water. And I might add more if I notice that the consistency isn't what I want. So, okay, so, and then we're just going to mix it up. I'm going to take my ring off because I get my hands in there. My hands are clean, but okay, and so then you just mix it. So what next to it? I do add a little water. So I used a 1/2 cup of water, and I'm just going to add a little bit more water to it. So about a cup, no, yeah, about a cup of water. I was using a 1/2 cup, but I added it. Now, I need to, and now I can use the flour. I need to flour my workspace. I need a bigger workspace, but it is what it is. Now, depending on how crispy you want them, if you add more olive oil, but I don't choose to. I think a 1/3 cup is enough. So we're going to put some flour there, and you notice that it's got that you can see the oregano in it, right? So okay, so then you just flour your workspace. I have to move all this stuff. I'm still trying to manifest that old country home with the great big massive tables to make my bread on. I love homemade bread. Love it, absolutely love it. And I love to make cinnamon buns at Christmas time. Yeah, so, okay, so, and then you just knead it. Simplest thing ever. Feels a little too dry, so I'm going to make a little bit of a well, and I'm going to put a tiny little bit of water inside there. Now, if I were you, I would do this in the pot, but just for expediency, I'm just going to do it here. You want it sticky, right? You want it sticky. So I'm going to break it in two. And I'm going to work all the ingredients together. And that's how you make my gluten-free crackers. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to try to roll it out and see how it works. Rolling pin, flour. Most of this, the reason I'm doing it like this is because I live far away from my grandchildren. And you know the old adage where grandma wants to show the grandkids how to make cookies and do all those fun things. Well, I don't have the opportunity because I live too far away. And in the wintertime, I don't like the travel. So, so this basically is a video for my granddaughters. Yeah, you will know by the consistency of your dough and how it rolls out. If it rolls out real easy, then you know that you've got the right consistency, but you might need to add water or flour, right? So depending on what your tastes are. I like my crackers very crispy, and so that's why I do it this way. And the thinner you roll them, the crispier they'll be. So if you're having a problem with your dough, you have to be very careful with adding the right ingredients, the right water. Okay, so now we got my parchment paper. Hands on, I better preheat the oven. Okay, pizza cutter. To go down in strips, that's about the right size. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I try to make it square so that they turn out very square. Right? So, okay, so depending on the size you want the crackers, right? So I think I like mine when they're narrow and they're crispy that way. Okay, so. Now, if you're the type of person that likes honey crackers, you would brush them with honey at this point before you put them in the oven, right? So oregano crackers brushed with honey, and then it kind of cooks into the crackers. So we're going to see, I'm going to put this first batch in and see if they're thin enough, because I'm kind of seeing that they might be a little bit too thick, and I don't want them thick. So we're going to try it, right? We're going to try these and see how it goes. Middle rack is fine. The middle rack is great for that. I am having a problem with my camera. I have a ghost. I'm telling you I have a ghost because my camera goes light, it goes dark, it goes light, it goes dark. It's like someone's messing with it. So whoever you are, I'm not in the mood for company, so go back to wherever it is you're from. Okay, so anyway, the next thing will be to show you what they turn out like, and I am going to roll up a bunch now and have them pre-cut in order to pop into the oven. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the more or the thinner they are, the crispier they are, and I like mine crispy, and so I'm going to roll them very, very thin. So I'll see you shortly. The final stretch. This is the final stretch. These are all that I have left to cook. This came out of the oven and they have turned out perfect. I have to be honest, there was a batch that burnt. There was like 5 of them that burnt, but these ones didn't. And the reason why is because I forgot about them. I was rolling out the dough and making crackers, and I literally forgot about the ones I had in the oven. And I put them in a little bit longer to make them harder, and they burnt. But they were good. Guess what? I ate them. 5. Anyway, this is the crackers. This is how they turn out. These are hot. So I put them in a tray. Now, I do have one of these, and I used to do this. I used to put it on top of a tray and then put these on top so that they would cool, but I'm using the only tray that I have for making them, so I don't have them. But this makes about, oh, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 dozen crackers, depending on, yeah, look at that. Aren't they just beautiful? And they taste like divine, divine. So we're going to try one. I like mine really crispy, right? So listen. I don't know if you can hear this. You hear that? They're so good. But the problem is, when I make these crackers, I have a hard time walking away from the tray. Be honest. Other people like cookies and cinnamon buns. Yeah, I like those too, but these crackers are like bloody amazing. So easy to make, barely any ingredients, and you can be creative. You can literally make any kind of cracker. Instead of putting the oregano in, you can put garlic, you can put chili flakes, you can put cinnamon, you can put ginger, you can make cinnamon crackers, and they are so good. And they're so strong. Cinnamon and nutmeg mixed together a little bit of nutmeg, because nutmeg can be very overwhelming, but if you put cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg together and you put it in this instead of the oregano, oh, they're amazing, amazing. So I'm going to put this in here. One more tip I'm going to tell you. Okay, so if you're like me and you have a tendency to forget things, right? I put it in the oven, then I started doing this and I forgot about it. Now that could be a sign of old age, but it could just be a sign of the fact that I was really engrossed in what I was doing. However, be very aware of the heat on your oven. I usually heat my oven, I preheat my oven, and I put it on broil and high, and it heats it really fast because I don't like to wait. I like these crackers that much. Anyway, and then I turn it down. I let it kind of cool down while I'm getting all the preparations and getting them cut and the whole bit, right? And then I put them in, but I forgot, and so I burnt them. So, be very vigilant about that, because it can be a dangerous thing, right? Especially if you have to eat the burnt ones, and I did, so that's 5, right? Okay, so here, I wanted to show you. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm low income, and so sometimes I can't afford to buy a gift for the people that, my neighbors or my friends. I don't really have a lot of friends here, which is a good thing because I make a lot of crackers. Anyway, so I do make crackers, and I do sometimes give them as gifts, right? Now you can make them with a cookie cutter, one of those animal cookie cutters, and that would be a wonderful gift, right? So I'm going to show you how I used to do it. And I haven't done it like this for years. Okay. So you can take these mason jars. There's this one here, and there's this. I got it from the dollar store, right? Now, I do have ones that are smaller. I just don't know where I put them. If I could find them, I would. I did purchase these, though, and I think these are so cute. I have to show you this. So these are like little wine, almost like little wine glasses, right? And you could fill that up with a few different types of cheeses, like you can get that goat cheese and put a few wrapped pieces of delicatessen cheese in, and then put in some of the crackers, and then wrap it with cellophane wrap and put a bow on it, and there you go. You've given them an actual physical present, but you've also given them something to munch on. So, and they could use this for a glass of champagne. Anyway, so that's what I was saying there. And then if you wanted to fill these up, just slip it in. Okay. I'm not going to fill it right up because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess the crackers up. Okay. And then I got these because I was doing a lot of preserving at one point. I'm not anymore. But you can get them at the dollar store, right? And so you can put one of these on, and then you put this on top, and then you put this on. You twist it in, and there you go. Isn't that cute? Now, I'm not sure if I did that right, because someone told me that one time you're not supposed to put that on like that. You're supposed to put it on like that. I don't know. I don't think it matters. Do you think? Oh, yeah, it does matter. It tightens a lot more. So there you go. So that's a cute little gift to put in a little basket or to just hand to your neighbors. I mean, it's the same thing as making preserves or making jams and giving your neighbors some jams or homemade pickles that you made or homemade crackers like I'm making today. Now, these aren't going to the neighbors. These are going right in my cupboard and then probably right in my belly. I just wanted to show you the things that you can do if you're creative. And if my granddaughters are watching, if you want to make me a gift with your hands, that's a kind of gift that I will remember forever. And so will my stomach. I love oregano crackers, homemade. So if you're going to make grandma something, a homemade card and a jar of crackers. So I shall see you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. Namaste. Bye.